at this moment or at this point in time, we are still in a very male-dominated society, uh, particularly in a workplace. Do you feel that women have to go an extra mile to prove themselves?
Yes, I feel yes, because we're still oriented around a lot of stereotypes about what women can do and what they can't. I feel for men, they don't have to prove themselves. People just assume that they'll do whatever they're expected to do. With women, you need to take that first step and show them that you can not only do something, but you can actually at times do it even better than the man next to you. So, have there been occasions in my career? I'll give you one example, anecdotal. My move to Turkey, I thought a lot of people around me assumed I would not be able to survive. Those 2 years being away from family, being away from husband, did I have to prove to the world around me that it is doable, second, doable by me as an individual, third, doable, and you come back and you actually succeed having done it. I needed to take all those 3 steps before it almost became, at least for my immediate circle, an acceptance that it can be done. So yeah, in my life, I think I've had to push the boundary a bit more than the men around me. I don't know, Zeelaf, if you believe
yes,
it.
I think we spoke about it in an earlier question. Yes, there are times and stages in a woman's life where there's no question about it. You have to go the extra mile and you have to stretch yourself, and as the example that I was quoting, it is when you have, and as whether it is as a physician, as a mom who has to drive children to their practices or their lessons, there is definitely, you have to be going that extra mile. But what is that doing? What that's doing is, it is making you stronger and professionally as well. So whoever goes that extra mile of working harder gains professionally,
Very valid point.
and in their careers. And so I totally believe that yes, when you have goals in life, you have to work for them and you have to go that extra mile. But end of the day, it's your own family that is benefiting. You are benefiting. Society is benefiting.
Building on to what you were saying, I'll just add to something very, very. So I think, जैसे मुझे कभी होता है, if I have to make a presentation or, so I would do my homework, and I'm sure you all would do. So a lot of time I've seen, men in their positions might just, shy away or नहीं किया या कभी हो गया, and they would just not. So we have to be very sure that when we're standing there, we have full command over our subject or topic. So I think that is what an extra mile in a workplace could be.
And it's very interesting. If you look at studies of how women evaluate themselves and how men evaluate themselves, it points to that women, generally speaking, do feel they would be underestimating themselves, and they do feel that if I haven't, they need to. Whereas, so that in and of itself is something that we as women, or anybody who is wanting to have an impact, a positive impact. I look at things rather than putting it negatively as we have to do it, in the positive sense. I think it is women should also have the confidence in themselves that they can and are doing whatever it is that they want to do. And yet at the same time, women can also be reassured of the fact that whatever hard work, sacrifice, there is, I think one thing that all three of us and you, Afshin, that we have, that we know and has happened, but we haven't really talked about yet is, yes, there are sacrifices.
That you have to get.
So sacrifices are again about choices and support system and what choices one makes for what kinds of sacrifice. But end of the day, you come out stronger.
I think there's a lot of wisdom, by the way, in the way, in what Dr. Zeelaf was just saying. It's not about, hi, main bichari, I'm having to do so much. It's the other spectrum of that, which is every step is strengthening me in being a better me. And I love that perspective, because every day you have those two choices. Either you can make that extra, effort and say, but the world is being so unfair on me, kyunki I'm being pitched against men, hai main bichari, mujhe zyada karna pad raha hai. Or the lens could be every morning you say, yes, I am working a lot harder, but look at the rewards that I'm getting. And the rewards again are not only numeric or financial, they're adding back to who we are as individuals, how much of our souls are being filled through the effort that we're making, and that's really beautiful, Dr. Zeelaf. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, I get my inspiration from all the wonderful people around me and work with, and it's wonderful to even be here at PAS and get this opportunity, so that we can make a difference to what collectively we believe in. And that's exactly the strength that all of us bring and carry. And you took the example of in the industry that we are victims. I mean, it just made me think that if we look at the communication space or the marketing space, the advertising space, women. There are positive messages and moving towards a more progress-oriented society, and the role everyone and women can play. And yet, if you look at it in, say, our dramas or this, there is more of that victim role that you spoke about. So these are examples where collectively the industry can work towards, because whatever we do, even communication has a role to play in society, to be shaping it towards a better society. So
I have a question to all the three of you. So do you consider yourself as a powerful woman?
Okay, powerful is a very strong word, by the way.
So yeah, strong is a very I would say
that's what I would have.
Yes.
You but with more power comes more responsibility.
Do I think I'm an impactful woman? Yes. I'm powerful. Again, takes me into a domain of physical, manifestation. Am I an impactful woman? Yes. I have an impact. It'll start from something as small and as tight as my kids and my husband and my mom, and it'll keep spreading. I was talking to somebody just yesterday for Women's Day, and I said, and the question was in that interview, what is a highlight? If you were to look at the next 10, 20 years of your life, what would be your highlight? My answer, and I genuinely believe in that, if my son comes back and says, I like this woman, mama, and I like her because she is actually balanced between what she can do as a wife and what she can do as corporate. For me, that would be the highlight of my life. Because I don't think we have positive impacts that we're creating for generations. Dr. Zeelaf talked about dramas. All we see are women in very subjugated situations. Each one of us, if we just impact that immediate hub of influence, that in itself becomes, the ripples that create change in overall Pakistan. Just do that, those one or two individuals that you can handpick and impact positively. Don't start with 1 million that you need to impact.
So Zeelaf, stressing on what or taking it up from what you were saying, we all know the power of marketing communications. And in your career or in your organizations, have you ever used this powerful medium to address gender stereotypes or counter these negative connotations associated?
Yes, since you're asking me specifically, I certainly, well, in my book, the school and the home and the school is where it starts, and that is what needs to be the focus. But definitely, marketing and communication has a role to play, because it's like a reflection of also, and it shapes the popular culture. So definitely has a role to play. And if for the example that you are asking, I think I would quote when we had, it was an award-winning campaign of Cake Up, one of our brands, cake brands. And it was actually a pioneer in those times for exactly the kind of, where it was about a working mother and the kind of challenges and emotional challenges that she was facing, and how just the emotional bond that she provides is more than enough for what she in her mind was considering as where she is failing. So, and I'm happy that there have been many campaigns after that who've picked up on themes like this. So there are examples in campaigns, and I think they certainly make a positive difference.
And see, just again, building on Dr. Zeelaf's point, so one extreme is an ad as gorgeous as Cake Up, which almost defined the working mom's role and her guilt throughout the day when she's away from her kid. That is totally front-ended on working women. There's a brand that I worked on where we kept pushing the boundary on, what would rural Pakistan be comfortable with? What would rural women be comfortable with? Domestic violence came out as a big issue. When we made an ad on it, women totally rejected it. It's a very harsh reality to sit and see an advertisement which is a reflection of what you've not been able to do as a woman being beaten out. So we said that there were two routes. Either we give up on that purpose totally and we say this is a brand that will continuously do, ek jingle, ek acha, naach gaane wala ad, or we'll pick up finer nuances of that change. And that brand has picked up some very minor points and very minor changes in a woman's life in rural Punjab. But believe you me, every rural woman that we've ever shown those ads to, they get it spot on. I'll give you an example. There is a bias against, or there is a perception that after you get married, if you're staying with your in-laws, your mother coming to your house or being hosted at your house is a bit awkward. And especially in semi-urban rural Pakistan. We made an ad which was all around, let's have a gorgeous cup of tea with a mother visiting the mother-in-law and the daughter. To a lot of marketers, a lot of, let's say quote-unquote, trending marketers, it would look like a very small change in somebody's life. But I met semi-urban women who had tears in their eyes recalling that ad, because they said, you just normalized my mother coming and being hosted by me at my house. And similarly, just recently we've done an ad where a brother, even if he takes gifts to a woman's house to a sister's house in Punjab, coming in and being part of that, gift being opened, gift being served, food being served, it's just odd. And we've just done an ad where the guy, where the brother shows that awkwardness and still comes inside the house, that stepping inside the house for a lot of urban Pakistanis would be no big deal at all. For a lot of rural women, that's a big step forward in their own journey of relationships within their families.
So I just add on to what Farheen is saying, because sometimes we design communication for urban consumers, sometimes for rural consumers. So one of the brands that I'm lucky to work on is Lifebuoy shampoo. And if you know, the global theme on Women's Day this time is about breaking the bias. And I think the biggest bias in Pakistan is when that parent makes a choice that my boy will go to school and my girl will not, because my boy is going to bring money home and run the house and she will probably not. So I think the whole idea, the philosophy behind that brand for the last 4 years is that it's the mother who's not a bichari by any standards. She said, I might not be educated, but I want to raise a strong daughter, and I'll do that by making sure that she goes to school. So I think the whole thought, which might be very simplistic for some people because we come from privilege, but for a woman who's never been to a school because of financial reasons or because of safety reasons, seeing her daughter excel in school and going to school and becoming a stronger daughter of Pakistan is something that really motivates me, and I feel proud that I work on a brand like Lifebuoy shampoo, which is doing this for rural women. Another example, a controversial one, is one of the brands that I work on, Glow and Lovely. We've had a baggage where we've shown women, in certain settings, which is very different to what we show right now. But there is a program by the name of GAL Foundation, and we recently did a campaign on it known as the Pehli Tankhwah, where we kind of upskill those girls so that they can draw their first salary and bring that home, as opposed to just guys, bringing money home. And that can be a game changer because you're making them financially independent, they're contributing back to the society and bringing something home for their family. So I think our brands have that reach, and we are lucky to work on brands that can actually make a difference.
I agree with that. Farheen, to you, my question is, how can a woman be strong and powerful without alienating people or upsetting them?
If she's being strong to prove to others that she's strong, she'll always alienate people. If she's being strong because that is just her role in life, for her own family, for like I said, I'm very focused on the hub of influence that I have, Farheen. Apologies for that, coming out again and again in my narrative, but I don't step out every morning to change the world. I step out every morning to make that one individual be, positively influenced. If I'm going to put on this hat that says I'm this powerful woman, here I am, CEO, whatever, titles should not define the change that we want to bring to society. And it's not a title that's bringing a change. It is I being strong, because that's so needed for me to make an imprint on people around me. I'm loving doing this interview, and hopefully somebody will get inspired by it. But I honestly don't start off every morning by saying, today I will inspire people around me. I start off every day by saying, am I an inspiration for myself? Am I doing something that will end at 7 p.m. I look back and I say, what all did I do? And I'll just have a smile on my face. That's the contentment and the inspiration I want. It'll automatically spill over. It doesn't need to be. I feel sometimes women do take on that role of, but we need to make an imprint. A little bit of that extra push is picked up by the audience and is picked up by the periphery. And I think that is where you start alienating people, at least in my experience. Just be the best that you can be for yourself. People see that genuineness, people see that intent, which is not to impact anyone, but just to be the best that you possibly can be. At least that's my understanding of the role.
Very inspiring, Farheen.
And Asima, to you, my question would be something related to it. Do you find resistance when you are leading men?
That's a really nice question because so the department that I look after has quite a few men, around 40% are men. I don't find any resistance. I think it's a two-way thing because we're different. Men and women are different. So my only thing is that when I am leading a woman as opposed to a man, I need to lead differently because triggers are different, barriers are different, emotions are different, way of thinking slightly different. So I think it's not about resistance, it's about finding that mutual empathy, and I strongly believe that both women and men can work seamlessly together if we strike the right balance.
Zeelaf, to you, my question is, who do you feel is responsible for taking action on women's issues?
Collectively, the society. I don't believe that taking on women's issues is the responsibility of women. I think it is the responsibility of the whole of the men and the women, because what you gain from it is collectively good for everyone. I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a wife, I am a mother-in-law.
You are CEO.
Yes, I am the CEO of a very large company and in a leadership position in society. So I think it is the responsibility lies with everyone in the larger good to be looking at it from the perspective of that this is not a gender issue. It is about all of us as human beings and as members of the society. And we raise children.
Yeah.
We raise children if we choose.
Yes.
So the learning starts from the home. And then we are
Maybe
teachers. And then
टेबल
we
लगाना
are
औरत का काम नहीं है, सिर्फ लड़की नहीं लगाएगी टेबल, टेबल लड़का भी लगा सकता है घर में. Maybe
absolutely.
small
So how we raise our children is also a part of our contribution to a society that is
Progressing
equitable
towards
and equitable for all.
So do you guys feel that things are moving in the right direction and things are changing? Because आज से कुछ साल पहले तक there were not very women in leadership roles and bias थे काफ़ी. Do you feel there has been a progression? Asima?
Well, yes, there has been a progression. I see many more women in the organization that I work and outside marketing as well. So I think when I began my career, most of the women were in marketing, and then you would find some of them in HR. But now it's amazing how I see women, on ground in sales, in finance, on the assembly line, making your products. It's amazing. So obviously we've come a long way, but there's a long journey ahead of us as well. Still our ratios are quite off. We really need to motivate more women and make it worth their while to come into the workforce.
I think I've seen there are a lot more women joining the workforce. Are a lot of women making it to the top? No. So if you look at corporate Pakistan, there's less than 20% contribution of women at the top. A lot of the marketing organizations that I interact with, almost 50% of their profiling is done on women. But then I think a big question that we all need to ask first, because I'm not too sure we're very clear on what that answer is. Why aren't those women who are entering the workforce also making it to the top? Right? How many CEOs do you know who are women? Handful. The expectation is, in fact, to be honest, at Women's Day, the number of invites that Dr. Zeelaf or I or Asima will get will be manifold, because there aren't people that anyone can reach out to and say, help us, inspire others. So I do feel, and I have a theory around it, I don't have numeric evidence of it, but I do feel it's because somewhere along the way, women are extra hard on themselves and bail out themselves, versus me sitting here right now and saying it's because of the men not supporting them. Clearly, HR comes back and tells us that when women have kids, that is one big time of attrition. That is when they bail out of corporate lives. When they have older parents, mid-40s, late 40s, they find the responsibility is just unmanageable and they bail out. If that is the truth, that is just my theory, that might be the possibility. If it is, I just think women need to give themselves an extra push off. Let's come back to work after a baby and see if it's working or not. Don't pre-decide. I do meet quite a few young women who, when leaving for maternity leave, are already confused about, but it'll be difficult. why don't you start off with, it will be difficult, but I will be able to do that. So all of us, I think, if we need to galvanize a movement around women making to the top, be conscious when she becomes a mother, be conscious when she has, teenagers, who have a lot of responsibilities, and parents who are old, parents-in-law who are old, support in those two domains of a woman's life. I do feel, that might mean a lot more leaders coming out of, this entry level, at least correctness that we're doing in corporate Pakistan.
So, any last message for all the women out there? I would want you guys to part on a very positive note to all the people out there. Yeah, I'll have a message.
For me, it's as simple as, don't ask log kya kahenge, ask yourself what will keep me happy and contented. If you're full inside, you'll be able to fill a lot of cups around you. If you're not full inside, no matter what position you're at, no matter what your efforts are, you will still be an empty vessel trying to fill out other responsibilities. So just be a bit less focused on the world around you, be a lot more focused in what do you need to feed back into yourself. If you're already full in terms of inspiration, motivation, a positive vibe, the rest is automatically taken care of.
I agree with that. I think extra mile shayad jana pade, lekin it's worth it.
It's absolutely
It's worth it. Yeah. Ji Zeelaf.
I think मेरा बहुत simple message ये होगा, believe in yourself, know yourself, believe in yourself, make conscious, rational choices, and that is where your inner strength comes from, and that is what makes, it's your inner strength that adds to making you have whatever impact that you want to be making. So it has to start with believing in yourself and believing in always doing what you think is the right thing to do. So do the right thing, believe in yourself, and make conscious, rational choices. And that's I think what anybody in our position as leaders would be doing, and that's what it is about.
Awesome. I think these women have, really inspired me and said a lot. All I can say to the women out there is that think for yourself and do things that actually make you happy, and do it guilt-free. Because a lot of times it's the society imposing, but a few times we also impose these guilt trips on ourselves that if I do this, then this will suffer. So if something's making you happy, do it. And enjoy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day, everyone.
Happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think I have a power-packed boardroom here at PAS, and not only you're an inspiration to all of us here, but all the people out there. I thoroughly enjoyed my session, and happy Women's Day. I think it's just not one day. I think we should celebrate it every single day.
We've had so much fun by it. We're talking to each other, so I can only imagine, so this is the inspiration that we wanted out of the day. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asima.
Thank you so much.
Very kind of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you to the audience as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.